Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novy-Williams, and this is the Boys Are Back sports business podcast, the Sporticast.
Back in the saddles again.
I was thinking Thin Lizzy, Scott, but both work.
Well, I go old school. Very, very, very heartfelt thank you to Mr. Jacob Feldman for holding the world of Sporticast down while I was traipsing around Rome and Dubrovnik. Eben, you were trout fishing somewhere in the hinterlands of Canada. You literally, you were off the grid. Yeah, you were off the grid. You had no phone service, right? You
Zero.
were out.
Yeah. 5 days, no cell service at all. I'm still catching up on news, by the way. I found out that Dalvin Cook is a Jet, apparently. I had no idea.
I know. I was just sitting next to you, and I was like, oh, how about this happen? You're like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
no. It was just, we wrote it. I'm like, we wrote it. I'm like, oh, you really were off the grid. I did my best, all my work. Listen, when you travel with wife and a focus group of 1 at 14, I joked that I had 15,000 steps in every day before they even woke up. And that is not hyperbole. I was up at 6 and they're sleeping and I'm like, I can sit here and read my phone. No, thank you. Or tiptoe out of the hotel room and go roam.
That's the best way to see those cities, those old cities.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm walking through. I am walking through alleyways. I'm talking to shopkeepers.
Exactly.
You know me. I have no problem saying hello to people.
Exactly.
Same thing in Dubrovnik. I'm walking all over the place, walking through all these alleys of the old city. It was fantastic. And then I'd go back, and they'd wake up. We'd eat, and then we go do exactly what I just did all over again. So I felt like the tour guide. Oh, over here, down on your left, you'll see. So all good. But we did miss certain things being away. To be honest, we know you get the alert on your phone that says you have used what your usage is up or down from last week, whatever.
Yep.
I'm very proud to announce, for those who didn't think I could do it, my usage was down 50% from the previous week.
Look at that.
Yeah. The only time I was on the phone is where, again, I get up earlier before everybody and I stay up later than everybody. So they would go to sleep. I couldn't put the TV on. That would wake everybody up. That is when I would sort of send some emails to everybody on the staff and kind of catch up on what's going on that day. So 50% down, I consider that a absolutely whopping success for me.
And are you feeling rested?
No.
Or are you feeling overwhelmed?
No.
Now that you're getting back.
You know me. I always say it's a treadmill on high. But I was on the treadmill as it was getting up to high. Now I stepped off the treadmill and nobody slowed it down. So now it is whizzing on high and I have to step on without getting thrown off. You know the cartoons where you hit the wall. So that's where I feel like I'm stepping on and I'm at a running pace. It's not quite on the hill, but I'm on the running pace. I mean, I assume it's the same for you. We operate the same way.
Yeah, we joke in this Canada trip that as we're driving out of the park on the way out, in the car, we always hit this moment where everyone gets cell service at the same time. And then the phones there's just this silence that hangs over the car and everybody's like, okay, yeah, we're back to reality now. This really sucks. So yeah, as good as it is to turn the phone off for 5 days, it's pretty terrible to turn the phone on after 5 days.
Yeah. I don't know where I was because it's just been all like, where was I when Messi scored the goal against Nashville? And
in the Leagues Cup final?
Yeah, in the league's final. Yeah, but I'm just like, again, one of those moments, again, where I said, I just saw it on Twitter like 2 seconds after it happened, right?
Jacob and I had a long talk about this last week for
all
folks who listened to it. I think depending on where you sit, either by good or bad, one of the things MLS and Apple have done very effectively is get those highlights on Twitter ASAP, within minute of goals being scored and Messi scoring quite a lot of them within a minute of them happening. Yeah, you're seeing them around the globe instantaneously, whether you have Apple TV or have the season pass or not.
Now, are you changing, though? Because you and I believe at the outset, we agreed with the Adam Silver approach, was it's just let everybody have it. Just give it away, let them have it. I believe you have started to soften on that stance and are perhaps looking for a more restrictive approach. Or if you were Lord of the league, you would have a more restrictive approach.
Yeah, I think that this depends on the hat I'm wearing. I think as a fan, I love the fact that I can see highlights instantaneously without needing the subscription.
Who cares about the fans' view? What do they count? They don't count for anything. We're talking about the commissioners' and owners' views here.
If I was a commissioner, I would be, and again, Jacob and I had a little conversation about this where he mentioned some interesting pitfalls about this, but I think that there is a potential business opportunity to monetize the flash social media rights. So not in perpetuity, but the 15 minutes after a play happens, I would not be shocked if in the future that is carved out of media rights and sold separately.
So only one outlet can show me the highlights
for the 15 minutes after Messi scores a goal, the only place that has the ability to tweet it is Bleacher Report, is X or Y. And if Apple wants to pay extra for that, great. If not, it can go to someone else. If it's an ESPN match, but Fox gets the rights to the whatever it is, there's things you need to unpack. But I would not be shocked if
But let me ask you this. Hold on. How can you not include that package to the original rights holder?
Well, this is the question, right? Because right now it's non-exclusive to the rights holder because the videos you're seeing of Messi are coming from MLS. They're not coming from Apple. Apple's doing essentially nothing to promote it on the social media, the videos of Messi. All of that is MLS. So right now it exists in this weird non-exclusive range where the rights holder has the right, the league also has the right, the team has the right. Something big happens, the three of them are kind of competing to get the clip up immediately, and then immediately they get taken in different directions. I do wonder if in the future there's going to be something where the NBA says, we're not going to tweet LeBron's dunk within the 15 minutes that it happens. And neither are all these other media companies. And instead, one company is going to pay us for the rights to have that to show. Again, I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, but it would not surprise me if at some point the pendulum of treating social media as marketing as opposed to a revenue driver starts to swing towards the revenue driving side of the spectrum.
I disagree.
Yep.
Now, going back, remember, my relationship with Adam Silver goes back to me heading out to Secaucus, New Jersey, and Harmon Meadow Boulevard, and doing late night appearances on NBA TV whenever there was a business thing. And there was this, tall, skinny guy that nobody knew running the place, and he and I became pals back in the day. I just think and I understand he's in a different role now, but at his heart, this is about the entertainment, and I think you get more benefit out of the hoopla, out of the buzz, and monetize that in myriad ways rather than just trying to monetize the event itself. I think there's a certain halo that is created by all that buzz that in the long run you wind up making more money. Yeah. So
you may be right.
And let everybody yell at me, by the way. You know how disgusted I am at the defense of Nashville. I just don't understand. And yes, I know he's the best player. I got it. I know. But if you watch that replay, there's a defender who is sort of facing Messi. By the way, the first touch Messi when he took the pass was not a good one. The ball got a little away from him. So you had two players helping on the inside, and yet the one defender who was sort of furthest to the right allowed Messi to go to the left foot.
Yep.
All he had to do was turn him back in, and there were two people there, and then he'd have to pass the ball and get out of it. I mean, yes, I am aware that he could have absolutely, dipsy-dooed and still made his way through because he's Leo Messi. I got it. But don't make it easy on the guy. Take away anywhere near the box. Take away the left foot, please.
To our credit, Scott, before Messi played a single MLS game, you and I on this show had I thought a very interesting conversation about what's the ideal situation here. If Messi just starts pouring goals in left and right, at some point that says something about the league as a whole as well. I think you're kind of starting to see that right now. He has not played a single league match yet. It's been league.
Yeah, keep in mind everything's the greatest in the world for Inter Miami, except they're in last place.
They're in last place, and that to me is the awesome the storyline to watch in MLS in the second half of the season is how good is this team now? Are they able to get into a playoff spot there? If you look at the betting odds, Scott, they're the second favorite right now.
Yeah, behind Cincinnati.
And they're
by the way, just
last place in the Eastern Conference.
Eben, think about this. Think about this. When in the last 15 years have you been able to come to us at any point? And by the way, this is true of NFL and NBA, but because it's MLS. And said, hey, who's the betting favorite to win the MLS championship? Exactly. And yet you and I, as if casually, were like, yeah, behind Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, of course, yeah.
I can't name one player on Cincinnati, by the way.
I can't either.
I can't name. By the way, focus group of one hockey season starting this week. Practice Tuesday, practice Wednesday. I am off to Buffalo, shuffling off to Buffalo Thursday for first tournament Friday, Saturday, Sunday against some top clubs. But you know what Saturday is?
Oh, Red Bull, yeah.
Leo Messi comes to the number one media market in the world. And I'm sending my wife because I knew it was going to be a big event. So we got
sending her. She's the
sending
emissary,
my wife.
the Soshnick emissary.
My wife loves big events. She U.S. Open, she loves the big events. Yeah. So she is grabbing a friend, and they are going to Harrison to see Red Bull against Inter Miami. Is that the first MLS game for him?
I believe it. It might even be. There's a U.S. Open Cup game at some point soon, and then maybe this is an MLS game. I should know the answer to that. But yeah, this is, again, he's done all of this. He has not yet scored a single goal in an MLS league match because he hasn't played in one yet. But there is a fear, I know, among a lot of folks in MLS that all of this Messi attention happens, and then when it comes playoff time, Inter Miami hasn't made the playoffs, and now suddenly everyone's like, wait, what? He's playing so well, the team's winning a lot, and they're not even in the playoffs. So I know there's going to be there's a lot of people in the league hoping that this team turns things around and makes it to the playoff for sure.
But
we'll see if that happens.
You and I are fascinated with him coming to town, any old town, and we're like, what are teams doing? How do you capitalize? What are the superlatives? So we should say that absent something happening with terrible with the soccer gods, we should have Red Bull GM Marc de Grand Prix joining us for the next Sporticast to talk about, all right, how do you prepare for this absolute popularity train that's pulling into town? And man, them winning, it's just building to a crescendo. Then they win against Nashville in that fashion. It's just so much Messi hype. It's unbelievable coming into New York. What a perfect scenario for MLS.
I think this has been a dream for Major League Soccer. Again, we can talk about whether him scoring too much undermines the credibility of the rest of the league, but right now he's pouring goals in. They just won the League's Cup title in dramatic fashion. The League's Cup is the inaugural season. It's the in-season tournament between the Mexican Domestic League and the U.S. Domestic League. MLS put both teams in the final, Nashville and Miami, which is a good result for MLS as well. I don't think they could have envisioned a better start to both to League's Cup as a commercial entity and to the Leo Messi experiment in Inter Miami. And again, now that is in the rearview mirror, everything is going to shift towards the MLS season. But I'm fascinated to talk to Mark later this week, Scott, because you're right. Every MLS team that hosts Inter Miami in the back half of this season had this date circled on their calendar the minute it seemed clear that Leo was going to be signing in MLS. And there's a lot of different, and we'll get into it with him, but there's a lot of different things that teams are doing to capitalize on tickets that may have already been sold out, trying to free up inventory. What are their secondary market ticket partners
What is that trash can doing there? Move it and put it in a seat.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's far off. So yeah, but that'll be a fun conversation, and we'll pick that up in a couple days. Speaking
of fun, I got to tell you, and this is a little thing, got a little attention, or got some decent attention. But if you want to know why guys like Messi are guys like Messi, and it's because you need the totality. You need it all. You need to have people follow you the way and to be considered the greatest and the whole thing. Did you see after the game where he took off the captain's armband and he gave it to DeAndre Yedlin, who had been the captain prior to his arrival? And much like the Stanley Cup, the captain goes and gets the trophy and lifts it. So you could see Yedlin. He almost didn't want it. But, Messi, just the fact that he thought about, like, I recognize you laid the groundwork here. And then I'm sort of this, Johnny come lately. And so he gave him the armband so that he can lift the trophy first. Little things like that. Just the fact that he's thinking. He thinks about trophy ceremonies the way he plays soccer. He sees time and space better than everybody else. And that was sort of seeing the space that his teammate deserved that. And I don't know how many athletes really would have thought of it. And this is not like gushing on him. It's just true. I don't know how many folks would have thought of it. And it does matter. The other players see that stuff. They see him shopping in Publix, and they say, hey, this guy's the real deal all around.
Yeah, there's been some interesting stuff written. I'm sure we'll get more just about how insane the Inter Miami season got flipped in the middle of this season, right? DeAndre Yedlin was the captain. He was maybe the most known player on the team
sure.
5 months ago.
U.S. international player, yeah.
Suddenly, Leo Messi is the star, and he's brought in Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, some of his former teammates, and now suddenly there's huge names on the team, and now DeAndre Yedlin isn't the captain. He's not even the third most talked about player on the team. It just the way in which the season got upended in good and bad ways, I'm sure, for players on this team. And Leo seems to be very, at least in little bits, like what you're saying, seems to be aware of that in a way that does seem actually very considerate and more than I would expect for some big name athletes in similar situations.
Is Ryan Reynolds got a camera crew rolling with this arrival of Leo? I haven't heard anything about that.
Apple has a camera crew rolling, right?
So we're going to have the Apple documentary of the making of.
I think there's two in the works. Maybe one with Adidas and one with Apple. I might be wrong about that.
I only need one. I don't need two, but okay.
I think you're gonna get two.
I don't need two. I don't need combating.
There is definitely Leo in Miami docuseries is happening for sure, and I think is happening from two different angles.
Wrexham had a pretty good tie the other day. They were down 5-1, and they wound up tying 5-5. It's like everything is going perfectly for anybody that's being followed by cameras.
Just the fact that that underscores just how great a job Ryan and Rob have done.
Yeah,
right? That's a fourth division Welsh soccer team. That you're aware of a season opening comeback that they had. That says it all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I never would have known about Wrexham results come 2 years ago. All right, you were away, I was away, and this was one of the things where we realized you really were out. You said something like, "Hey, we should talk about Harry Kane and Skechers." And I said, yeah, and I looked at, all right, I'm like, what team is he on now? He just moved, right? And you were like, what? You had no idea that he now plays in Bayern Munich.
Former Tottenham star.
Yeah, how funny is that? I love it that you were so off the grid that I know. I was like, yeah, he's with who? Bayern now? And you're like, what are you talking about?
Totally missed it. Yeah. But a really interesting deal here. Yeah. Harry Kane has apparently for a lot of the preseason was wearing new Skechers shoes that were covered up with tape, so no one actually knew what they were. But he has announced a deal with Skechers. They're making a soccer cleat, I believe, for the first time. This is one of big push by Skechers into soccer, and using Harry Kane as the expensive mouthpiece for it. But a really interesting both soccer and
mouthpiece.
Ooh. He's an expensive mouthpiece. He's one of the best soccer players, one of the more recognizable soccer players in the world.
Front man.
It feels to me like when Under Armour made its push into basketball and Brandon Jennings and Steph Curry were very early there, and when New Balance kind of rebooted its basketball around Kawhi Leonard. You learn a lot about companies when they get into a sport by who they choose to associate themselves with. And I think Harry Kane is an interesting one for Skechers, publicly traded company, but a company that has not been on the soccer cleat market.
No, they were on the retired old man market with Joe Montana and the cushy sneakers back in the day.
The slip-ons. And Skechers has they've grown their market share in some interesting places. I believe from a recent investor call, pickleball is another big
that makes
maybe
sense.
Fits more demographically from what you're saying. But pickleball is another big growth area that they see. But yet another sneaker company that is getting into more specialized sports equipment moving forward.
All right, I was really tired sometimes when you travel in time zones and all this, it just messes with your brain. So I'm 99.999% sure what I'm about to tell you is actually true and happened. So you're going to have to go look this up. As soon as we're done with the podcast, you're going to have to go look it up.
Everything we say on the show has a 99.9%.
No. Because it,
I don't know anything 100%.
I really remember it here. Again, it was late night scrolling film. But if I'm not mistaken, one of our sister brand, Rob Report, I think I saw a story where it was something like the headline, like "Put away the Sambas" or something, where what's kind of the cool new thing to wear are actually cleats with spikes. To wear.
Like in social settings.
Yes, I'm going to the store, I'm going to put on my cleats. How can that be?
This blows my mind.
Right, that's
you're right.
It blows my mind as well.
Right,
did I absolutely dream this whole thing, or did I really? Everybody, quick, go to robreport.com. Rob with two B's. Robreport.com.
I'm trying to Google it while you're talking.
I can talk to you right now. This is what I usually do with you. So I can give you 20 seconds of me covering this airtime where you're quickly Googling Rob Report, Sambas, cleats, comfort wear or outerwear. Please tell me this is true.
It is. You got the wrong
Yes!
publication. It's not a PMC publication.
So, it wasn't Rob Report?
It was Vogue.
It was Vogue? I don't read Vogue. How did I get on Vogue?
It's time to retire your Sambas for a pair of cleats.
Yes.
Seriously.
That was the headline. Yes. So wait. Well, hold on, Eben. Where do I score for getting the pretty much the story correct, but the publication
We're
completely
giving you
wrong?
all the points, Scott.
Okay. Good.
In my opinion, you were 100% right.
Thank you. But how bizarro is this story?
Yeah, this is apparently dozen pairs of classic black and white Sambas, a handful of iterations, Wells, Bonner, Gucci collaborations.
Yeah, go ahead and read on air. This is fine. People want to hear this. Yeah, people are. Could you? But I don't know about you, but when I used to wear my old cleats, like you get out of the car in the parking lot on the cement, and before you hit the grass, there was real slip and fall danger there.
Yeah, so I'll read you a paragraph from this.
Please do.
This is from the author. It may seem silly to wear spike bottom shoes that click and clack on pavement, but
Yes,
bear with
it does.
me. The aforementioned pair I saw, which were Pumas, I think, I saw downtown last summer, had less exaggerated studs, which are easier to walk in, and the traditional leather with stitching makes for comfortable sneakers. One can go all out with a pair of seriously spiked cleats, like the Adidas Copa Mundial, or opt for an indoor cleat designed with shorter spikes. It's
This
not the
is
size of the spike
insane.
that counts, rather. The trend is about adopting a more technical shoe into an everyday style.
This
Wow.
is insane. By the way, I have.
Great addition here, Scott. This is
I
a great
believe.
tangent.
Think about it though. Think about the market that is now open. If you have soccer players as stars, as celebrities, but now the market for the product isn't just sort of those at Dick's Sporting Goods who need a cleat, and the kid says, "Daddy, Daddy, Mommy, Mommy, I want Puma because this player wears it, or I want Skechers because Harry Kane wears it." But now it's like, oh, I've got a party to go to next weekend. I need a new pair of Puma spikes. This makes no sense. Get me Anna Wintour for the next Sporticast. Marc de Grand Pré and Anna Wintour. That's what I need because this makes no sense to me.
I've got a pair of Total 90s, Nike Total 90s that are probably in style now.
I've got a pair. I think I've got Copa Mundial like turf shoes. Should I wear my? What do you give me? Do I wear my Copa? Well, we're not recording tomorrow. Should I do it Wednesday so I can lift? We can do this with Marc de Grand Pré, and I can lift my foot up and like, look, Mark, this is like a thing.
Yeah, put the Jordans away, Scott, and start wearing the.
Oh no! As you well know, I'm wearing my new sneakers today. My pre-travel walking around Europe sneakers, and the earnings were great. And I like Roger Federer. I became friendly with Roger covering all those U.S. Opens back in the day and having to wait with a TV camera by the practice court. But I bought a pair on the recommendation of the salesperson. I bought a pair of On, right? And I got and I was wearing the like Dick's Sporting Goods, Adidas cheap, $60, whatever the hell it was. These are. I don't think. I think I would have been in much more pain had I did all the walk. I was 25,000 plus steps a day in Europe every single day in heat. And I don't think I would have felt as good as I did if I was not wearing these sneakers. There's a commercial for On. They are really comfortable shoes.
I'm wearing On right now as well.
You are? Should I lean back and show my On? Because hold on, I'm going to do it. Hold on, I hope I don't hit this. I'm going to put these. Hold on, because my wife says they were really. When I bought them, she wanted me to go in a different direction, right?
Okay.
She wanted more.
Function,
form over function. She wanted form over function. And me, I do not care. I am all about functionality. Why would I take a less comfortable sneaker because they look better? No, that's not me at all. I don't care. Hold on. Here they come. Ready?
Wow. Look at that. No free ads.
No, pretty cool. Again, I'm not a stockholder. I do not own. No. I'm just telling you that I got these shoes and they were really, really comfortable.
You will be hearing a lot about On, I think, in the next few weeks as the U.S. Open tennis event
yes,
kicks off.
Yes.
Iga Swiatek, the top-ranked Polish woman, is one of On's athletes. Roger Federer was before he retired, still is, I guess, but is no longer competing. Ben Shelton, one of the very young American men, a really nice crop of young American men for the first time in a long time, Scott, heading into this U.S. Open. But Ben Shelton is part of the On team as well. I think it's the fastest growing shoe company in the world, at least by some
There's only one thing you'll hear more at the U.S. Open. There's only one brand you'll hear more at the U.S. Open than On, I think.
Grey Goose?
Grey Goose and the Honey Deuce. Yeah, they signed a long-term extension to the deal. Yeah, the Honey Deuce is a pretty darn good drink at the U.S. Open.
It is.
Asla Palik did a really great thing last year. It was like up to $23 or something like that.
Yeah, something
I don't think they were too happy when she wrote that story last year that it far outpaced inflation, the price increases.
Yeah.
I think we heard from the USTA that they were not thrilled with that particular story. Sorry, but truth is truth, right? They were really high priced.
Yeah, but they are good. They are. If you go to the U.S. Open, I recommend. If you're looking for a drink, I recommend.
All right, we got a little tangent here, Vogue and other, but we did want to touch on our Harris poll. What percentage of Americans are in favor of paying college athletes? Don't answer. We want to give all our listeners at least 3 seconds. What percentage of Americans are in favor of paying college athletes? All right. I would have guessed 55.
Yeah.
What would you have been before the results? What would you have guessed?
I would have put something right around there. I would have said around half would have been my guess.
Okay.
And I guess we've given people enough time right now. Sportico worked with Harris Poll to ask this question in a number of ways across the country. 67% is the top line number. So essentially exactly 2/3 of Americans believe college athletes should be paid. The results of this, which we did a bunch of data viz with last week, is shocking to me, Scott, because in an era of everything in this country is divided, this is a totally bipartisan. It is age agnostic. It is race agnostic.
Fans of the Harvard Crimson
agnostic.
share the same response as the share of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, one of the ones that jumped out to me the most, Daniel Libet, our colleague, and I were laughing about it, but there's a question in there about do you believe that college athletes should have a union and be collective bargaining? And 48% of Republicans said yes. And I'm not sure if there's a single issue that 48% of voting Republicans are in favor of more unionization. It's just a very interesting topic that really seems to have very strong support literally by any demographic that you cut it apart by. And the numbers are bigger than if you look at these polls from just 2 or 3 years ago. All these numbers are significantly bigger than they were. So I think part of that is NIL. I think the ability for athletes to start making money is opening up the door for more people to say, "Oh yeah, this seems right." Like this obviously is the first step in what would be a more equitable opportunity or setup, I think, for college athletes versus what they had 5 years ago. But whatever it is, conference realignment. There's a lot happening in college sports right now. The professional nature of college sports, I think, has been laid bare in a way more obvious even than a half a decade ago, probably for a lot of fans. But whatever the reason is, the support for athletes being paid, unionizing and collective bargaining, getting a cut of the billions of dollars of revenue that they generate, all of those things are becoming more popular than less as we move forward.
Do you think it's that we've had a very small sample size of all the sort of cataclysmic projections of what would have happened in a world where NIL came in? Like none of them seemed to come true. People needed to see it to believe it.
It's a good point because for so long, one of the reasons the NCAA, one of the pieces of evidence they gave for fighting more rights or more compensation for athletes was that fans would turn away. That they said that one of the things that
they'll view them as professionals and that's it. It all goes away.
Like you strip the luster away and now suddenly no one wants to watch college
Once
football
again,
anymore.
Then I'm saying I was right, Eben. When we said it all,
right?
I said it forever. The brand, the university brand matters more than the athlete. People go and root for the maize and blue. They root for the Penn State white with the stripe on the helmet. They root for Alabama. They love the crimson. It's about the tradition. It's about the fight songs. It's about the walk into the stadium. It's about taking your boat to Neyland Stadium and going watching Tennessee play Florida. That is the essence of college football. Can't speak to the others, but we're talking about the big money driver here. The essence of college football is the tradition, sort of the communal aspect of it all. And frankly, these are, yes, of course, they know the names of the players and the quarterbacks, but nameless, faceless. It doesn't matter who is wearing, who is inside those uniforms. People are going and rooting for the institution.
And it doesn't matter if the quarterback is making $1 million from NIL.
Don't care. Just win.
Influence. Another thing that we did in this poll, which is also interesting to me, we asked fans how this most recent again, we did this polling in the past week, the most recent spat of conference realignment, if it was going to change their consumption of college sports at all. And again, overwhelmingly, I think about 2/3 again said that it would not. So
what else are you going to do on Saturday? Talk to your family? Come on.
All the hand wringing about Oregon in the Big Ten and Texas in the SEC. Majority of college football fans say that they are going to watch just the same amount, if not more, of college football or college sports in general in this new world of nationwide conferences than it was in the more regional model we had in the past. So a lot of the arguments against some of the things we've seen in college sports in the past few years, when you actually ask fans how it's going to affect the way that they watch, consume, enjoy college sports, a lot of them are downplaying those effects.
I would say the genius of college football is that the powers that be have got fans fully buying into the notion that every single week there is the most important game of the season. Every season. I mean, week one, if you've got Michigan playing Penn State, most important game. You got, oh my God, Michigan loses, they can't win the Big Ten, and that, blah, 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 blah. Then it's like week two. Oh, wait, you've got Alabama playing Auburn. Oh my God, if they, this one, the biggest thing. And then you've got, Oregon playing this. Every week is the most important game of the season.
Fox is currently promoting the most anticipated week one matchup in modern college football history.
And I think please enlighten me. Who's that?
They're using.
Who is that?
Oh, of course, you don't know this, Scott. It's TCU.
Oh no!
Against Colorado.
No,
Deion Sanders, obviously, and there is some anticipation around Deion Sanders. But yes, the tagline on that, I think, is the most anticipated Week 1 college football matchup in modern times.
I am not going to go back looking at Week 1 college football matchups throughout the years, but I don't think that's true.
Georgia played Oregon last year in one that was a huge one until Georgia blew the doors off of the Ducks. But yes, there is a.
Oh, I didn't bring my. If I knew you were going to do that, I would have brought my duck lips. Now that I know how to use them.
So you're right. I think there is something that college football has, and I think the NFL benefits from it to a degree as well. There's just not that many games, and as a result, you just heap loads of importance onto each and every single one of them.
All right, we don't have a lot of time.
Some of that will change with the playoff. As we get to 12 teams, I think the winner-take-all nature of a Michigan-Ohio State game actually does change quite a bit. If it doesn't affect winning and losing, doesn't affect whether you make the playoff or not. But again, we'll see. And according to our polling, a lot of these changes actually fairly minor when it comes to how fans are planning to enjoy watching these games on Saturday.
I would push our last item to the next show. However, since we are probably chatting with Red Bull GM Marc de Grandpré, I don't think it makes sense to be talking about the Golden Knights and their streaming deal with ViewLift. Yep. The interesting part here is that ViewLift is a company that is co-owned by Ted Leonsis.
Yep.
So, I love when Ted invests in things like Sport Radar, early on, and that becomes the important thing in the sports industry. So double dipping whenever possible in all of this. So credit to Ted early in on ViewLift, and now you have the Vegas Golden Knights. Monumental, of course, will use it. That's Ted's company and his teams. And they were AT&T Sportsnet Rocky Mountain. So rumor has it there are a few other RSNs and teams that may be needing of streaming services. So I don't think this will be the last ViewLift deal that we hear about.
Yeah, I think that there was. I think we're going to re-enter because of a lot of these deals that kind of a new wave of opportunity for companies like ViewLift. For a while, it felt like the streaming back end kind of tech stuff was concentrated around just a few properties like Major League Baseball, Advanced Media, and a few others. I think it's now Delta Tray and ViewLift, and is it Kissway, the one that the Suns were partnering with?
Yes.
I think we're going to see a lot more of these tech firms pop up to work with teams, at least starting on a local basis. I'm with you though, Scott. I think the most interesting thing here is that this is a company that is backed, at least in part, by another NHL owner, and I'm sure that exists in other parts of our industry where individual teams are contracting with companies that rival owners or fellow owners are investors in. But definitely an interesting one, and I'm not surprised that Ted would be the one that saw the vision of this future before. This is the one. This company, I think, also powers the Monumental Sports Network.
All right, I got a sales meeting. Come on, let's go. Wrap it up. I got a sales meeting. Let's go.
All right, he is Scott Soshnick. Welcome back from Italy and Croatia. You can find him on Twitter at Soshnick. I am Eben Novy-Williams on Twitter at Novy_Williams. The Sporticast is produced by Keith Zanardi and Aaron Greenewald. Shout out to both of them. Sportico's digital media editor, Cora Veltman, would like you to know that you can follow the show at Sporticast, which is the hub of the Sportico Media Network.
Well rested and well done.